Nutrition plays a vital role in managing your COPD symptoms. So, I'm going to go over some things that you want to eat and some things that you want to avoid. Now, nutrition, it is super, super important. And a lot of people do not take this part seriously when they're managing their COPD. And that's just because a lot of people don't want to change the way they eat. I'm the exact same way, so I do understand that. But it actually does play a very large role with COPD. The better you eat, the better you're going to feel. And that's just fact. Okay. So, what you do want to eat are going to be your lean proteins. So, this is going to be like chicken, fish, beans. You want to try to stay away from the real fatty red meat. If you do eat it, just eat it occasionally. You don't have to completely cut it out of your diet, but just make it a special treat. You also want to make sure that you're eating lots of fresh fruit and vegetables because you're going to get all of your vitamins and antioxidants, and that's going to help boost your immune system, and that will just help you feel better all the way around. Also, what you want to do is make sure that you are hydrated. So, I even recommend for a lot of people to do like an electrolyte type drink. I don't recommend Gatorade, but just something that has really good electrolytes in it that does not have a ton of sugar. So, you've got your lean meats and proteins, you've got your fresh fruit and vegetables, and then you've got your water or water with electrolytes. All of those things you really want to incorporate into your diet. Now, there are some things that you want to cut out of your diet, okay? And these are going to be mainly your processed foods, okay? So just think about that as a whole. I recommend, if you don't know how processed something is, you look at the box, you look at the ingredients. And anything that has five or more, I usually will say stay away from, okay? Because then you're going to get more into the processed stuff. So, with this, the processed foods, there's just all kinds of stuff that they do that is bad for you and your lungs. But a couple of things is they have a lot of sodium. So, you might know if you eat a lot of sodium, it can actually cause blood pressure problems. It can also cause you to have more fluid in your body due to the blood pressure problems, and that will cause you to have a harder time breathing. Also, just the chemicals that are in there cause a lot of inflammation. So I always talk about inflammation. You want to decrease inflammation when you have COPD, especially because it is an inflammatory process. So, anytime you can add something that is an anti inflammatory is really good for you too. But back to the processed foods. So these foods, like I said, they have a lot of sodium. They also, a lot of times, have a lot of sugar, trans fats. So these things you just want to keep at a minimum because they cutting them out really, really, really will help with the inflammation, and you're going to be able to tell. Okay, you're going to feel better. Now, if you're someone who eats a lot of sugar and a lot of um, super super sugary meals, baked goods, you can just try to start minimizing them. You don't need to stop all at once because that's going to be really hard for you to do. But just start to minimize them so that it's not your go-to snack or your go-to meal. Okay, you'll notice a difference there. Okay, so some other nutrition things. Try to stay away from really heavy meals. And you probably know this already because if you eat a really heavy meal, it can cause bloating. The bloating will push up on your diaphragm and it's going to make it harder for you to breathe. So, what people recommend is that you do smaller, more frequent meals throughout the day. This is going to help minimize the bloating. It's also going to help with your digestion. So, it'll just kind of you don't do it all at once, you're still going to get the same calories, the same nutrients. It's just going to be a little bit at a time rather than all at once. Also, if you are someone who is a little bit overweight, you really, really, really want to trim down. Now, I know everybody says this, but it's especially important with COPD because your body is already having to work harder. Okay. So anything you can do to make it a little bit easier, you want to do. So even if you're just 20 pounds overweight, which isn't very much, it would be like a regular, let's say, I'm not going to say thin person, I'm going to say just your ideal body weight person carrying around a 20-pound bowling ball all day. It's going to be hard for them. So it's the same thing. That extra weight is weight that your body is having to carry around. So if you can lose the weight, it is really going to help you. You will notice a big difference just from that alone. But as long as you can increase the healthy foods, decrease the bad foods, try to get active, you will notice a difference with your breathing. So you just have to think about it as the food you're eating is fuel for your body. You need to do everything you can for your body so that it functions properly. Okay. So that pretty much sums it up with the nutrition. It's the same thing people hear all the time as far as, you want to eat better, but it really does make a difference. So that's why I wanted to do a whole video on that, just to really make sure that you kind of hear me and understand. And if you don't believe me, honestly, try it for about a month and then you let me know, because you're going to be journaling. Let me know if you notice the difference. If you don't, you can go back to eating whatever, but I recommend eating better for an extended amount of time just so you can see how much better you feel.